In its quest to provide an open forum for discussion of controversial issues, this station allows hosts and their guests to express themselves without any significant censorship. You are advised that any view expressed by the host or their guest are not necessarily the views of the owners or management of TogiNet Radio, Togi Entertainment, or the Owners Group, Inc.
It's time for Motherhood Talk Radio, the most powerful voice in women's issues today, with Sandra Beck and Christy Holly. Ladies, Motherhood Talk Radio is here to give you a powerful platform by giving you interesting, inspiring, and influential information as you navigate everything from childcare to corporate formation. Motherhood Talk Radio has interviews with best-selling authors, gurus of happiness, and women of interest who every single day make our world a better place for our families. Motherhood Talk Radio, powered by Motherhood Incorporated, is on the air now. Moms, this really is your show. Motherhood Talk Radio. And now, here are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Christy Holly.
Hey, mamas, this is Sandra Beck, and I am here with Rick Swanson today. We have a change of plans for today's show. We originally had Wendy Jaffe on today. She's unable to be with us today, so we are going to commence with a Valentine's Day show. Christy will be joining us in a few minutes. She had a very important, urgent phone call that she needed to attend to, and as many of you know, when you're a mom, you have to take those calls. So she will be joining us later in the show, but we have some really great topics today. But before we get into those topics, which are about men and women, which is one of our favorite topics to talk about, I want to wish everyone a very, very happy Valentine's Day and ask you, Rick, how was your Valentine's Day?
It was good. I just worked and then got irritated trying to connect up the internet router all night, so this was wonderful.
So you were dating your router, pretty much.
Yeah, I wouldn't say dating it, but we're having a traumatic affair, I think.
Right, a long-standing traumatic affair.
Yeah, basically.
No, but that's fun. I mean, Valentine's is such a great day. I think it's a great day. You tend to see it a little differently. Would you like to share us your views about Valentine's Day?
Well, I would like to share after you share why you like it so much.
Okay, all right, I will do that. I'm game.
It kind of baffles me.
No, but I think, it's like, you know me, I always like to let the people in my life know that I care about them. And I always figure, like, if I just accidentally die tomorrow, like get hit by a bus, struck by lightning, or, drown in my pool or something, at least I know that I'm going to exit this world, that the people that I know and love know that I love them. So to me, Valentine's Day is like a good reminder to make sure that I touch base with the people that I do care about, even though sometimes I mess up and I'm not really good at communicating. Oh, Christy's here. Hi. Happy Valentine's Day.
Why, thank you. Happy Valentine's Day to you, too.
So to bring you up to speed, I'm talking about why I like Valentine's Day. And I am kind of, deep down inside, a hearts and flowers kind of girl. And my company colors are pink and my logo is flowers. So Valentine's just, kind of goes in with that. But I will tell you that I'm not a Valentine's Day girl who has to have, like, jewelry or flowers or any of that kind of stuff. I really like more heartfelt things like, something that's handmade, or even if it's just somebody telling me how important I am or that I'm valuable for whatever reason. That's the type of stuff that really like floats my boat. I mean, so Valentine's Day for me is an expression of love, and I want to share it with the people that I love because I think I have a giant heart.
Ta-da! Ta-da! Very good. Well said. Well said.
Okay, top that, Mr. Swanson. Yes, please.
I don't know. I don't disagree with anything you said, and I think those are all fantastic. I don't know. I think that is better than what most people have kind of made it out to be. I think it's become like a big commercial marketing gimmick to get people to buy things and, feel compelled that they have to give these, expensive gifts to each other. But if it's more like what you were just talking about, I could see that and enjoy it more. Just growing up, we didn't really make a big deal about it, I didn't like it in grade school, getting dumb letters from people that I didn't really even know. Like,
I bet you just were like Charlie Brown. You didn't get any Valentine's.
I just ripped it up and threw it in the trash, to be honest. That was when I was younger. When I was younger. No, I don't know. It's like, to me, there's like the way you act and treat people the other 364 days of the year. I think that really speaks louder and speaks volumes for who you are as a person. That's really going to make the lasting impact on whether or not they feel loved and special. not just, oh, I love you today, then you treat them like crap the rest of the time. Right? I mean, it seems counterintuitive.
It does, and I can see your point.
Feeling. Yeah.
But it is fun. I have to tell you, Christy, and everybody listening out there today, my little 4-year-old was so excited to give Mr. Rick, that's what we call him here in the office, my kids call him Mr. Rick, the Mike and Ike's box. I mean, he was talking about this all weekend long, telling me we have to get Mr. Rick some Mike and Ike's for Valentine's Day. And, Rick, if you can tell him, how wacky was when you came into work that day.
When I came in yesterday. He just ambushed me at the door when I came in. He's like, here's a present for you. So then I kind of walked back into the office, and he's like, I wasn't opening it fast enough, I guess. He's like, no, open it. He's just standing right there. And then he goes, once we open it, then he goes on to tell me about, the pink power ones that he has to eat to get stronger. So we ate pretty much the whole box yesterday.
Yep, Christy's digging in there right now.
Yeah, hey, I hear a couple left.
3.5, 4
left. 4 left. But it is fun, I think, for stuff like that. To me, it was, it's a little box of candy, but, it's that thought, it's that little bit of, just that little bit of touch of love that's like, you know what, you're special, and I want to do something for you that I think you would like, even if it's just a little box of Mike and Ike's. So, Christy, what about you? What did you do for Valentine's Day?
What did I do? Well, my husband and I decided I was going to make a dinner for my family. So I had a new cookbook.
Ooh,
I got a new Weight Watchers cookbook.
You slimmed down on Valentine's Day?
I tried.
That takes guts. I had ice cream cake.
We tried.
Sorry, Rona.
I made honey mustard pork chops and also barbecue pork chops, which I made my own barbecue sauce. And I made some roasted garlic mashed potatoes and some roasted corn and some broccoli. And I made Weight Watcher cupcakes with buttercream frosting. And I tried making, for people that watch Biggest Loser, I tried making the vanilla cupcakes by Curtis Stone, and please tell me they did not turn out. So if anybody has made them and that they were actually good, please let me know what the secret is. Because
were they like not flavorful, or
you have to whip the egg white.
Yeah.
And I've never done that before.
So you didn't get a stiffy?
I did get a stiffy all on my own. But they just didn't taste very good, and I thought the reaction the Biggest Loser contestants had, they were so good. I was like, oh, these are bad. And I peeled them, wrapping the cups off, the paper cups off the cupcake. Half the cupcake was in the wrapper, so of course they're only,
because there's no...
I mean, it was, I don't know, they were bad. But the Weight Watcher ones were good. But so now I decided to do that, and it took me all day to cook, and, I did that because that was my special thing that I did for
there's your
my husband and my family.
So it's more an act of doing rather than... I just never understood, women who wanted earrings or, those physical manifestations of... Maybe because I'm not a thing person. I mean, I have a lot of things, but I never really looked at them as being meaningful expressions of love.
It's changed for me during the years. When I didn't have a boyfriend, it was like, I wished I could have a boyfriend that would send me flowers and the gifts, the fairy tale sort of thing. But as I got older, and married, it was like, save the money, don't spend the money on roses. Let me buy some shoes. Something practical.
That's true.
I mean, if you were going to give me flowers, and I think it was last year, I said, don't get me flowers. I mean, we have a beautiful rose garden,
That's true. You
and
have
it's
a lot of nice roses.
Why waste money, killing the roses for me? But just, little acts of kindness, like my husband, fixed the dent on my car.
He did?
He did.
That's been bugging you for so long?
Since October 29th. And then he also, he washed my car, so he did that for me.
It's true. It is true how little, things like that can make you feel like cared for. Like my favorite thing is like sometimes Rick or Anna will bring the trash cans in for me. And I know it's such a small little ticky-tack thing, but the fact that I don't have to go out there like in my bare feet in the cold and drag these trash cans in, it's like something that I don't like to do. I do it because I have to. Yeah. But when somebody else does that, it's really nice. It makes you feel good, and it's like it doesn't cost anything.
I know. And he also made me a card.
Oh.
And it was really sweet because it said, "To my beautiful wife." And it was just very, like, he doesn't usually say that. So it just, made me cry a little
and
bit.
He's really talented. That thing he made for Parker's birthday really rocked.
I know.
Like for a fireman, he's like seriously handy with a glue stick.
He's super creative. He is.
He is.
So all in all, we had like a great day, a great dinner, a great night. And
Did you do it?
Well, yeah.
Okay. I have to ask these things. As the host, I feel obligated.
Just yes. So, and my sister came over.
Did she do it?
No, she the day before, but but she's actually has a new friend in her life, but they didn't really celebrate Valentine's Day, so it was kind of a sad. She was anti-Valentine.
There's a lot of anti-Valentine sentiment. In fact, Mr. Rick,
I told you I'm not alone.
You put a post up on Facebook that I think got like 23 responses or something like that within a few hours.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Well, we were talking about Valentine's Day, and Rick, you want to share what you posted on Facebook?
Oh, I just said basically, Valentine's Day is like almost over, and then I put woohoo. But then I put a disclaimer saying I apologize in advance to anyone who feels offended by this post. So I CYA'd very well.
Except then I rejected your disclaimer.
I rejected that rejection, and then that started the whole little back and forth thing.
Yeah, and then I put a post up on Facebook that I tagged with Rick's face, which is an angel that was shot in the back with an arrow.
Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, Cupid got killed.
Yeah, it was a good thing. But overall, we had a great Valentine's Day. I know I did. I think the highlight for me was honestly my 7-year-old son Max and I just cleaned up on Buck Hunt Pro. And, Rick, you were a really good sport, and I want to thank you for giving us such a memorable Valentine's Day because you are the big Hunter Pro guy, and, for us to just cream you into the dust was outstanding.
Yeah, I got whooped, like hardcore.
Yeah, you did. You got your you-know-what kicked. Yeah. I am the host of Motherhood Talk Radio along with Christy Holly, and we have Rick Swanson as our guest today. We're going to be poking his brain about the more interested we are in men, the less interested they are in us. We're also going to talk about crucial moments to move a relationship forward.
Mom, here's your show, Motherhood Talk Radio, giving you interesting, inspiring, and influential information as you navigate everything from childcare to corporate formation. This is Motherhood Talk Radio, and we'll be right back after these.
Mind Matters is the show that dares to ask what's on your mind. Take this opportunity to join Dr. Larry Ross, clinical psychologist, and Joan Duhane, licensed clinical social worker, as they combined have over 50 years of experience in dealing with your mind. Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, only on TogiNet Radio.
Season Me is on TogiNet, a delightful, thoughtful, serious, and not-so-serious call-in show with Cecil Murphy and Twyla Belk. Tuesday nights at 8, 7 Central on TogiNet.com. You know Cease is the veteran author from 90 Minutes in Heaven, Gifted Hands, When a Man You Loved Was Abused, and many other books, as well as a mentor for writers. And Twyla Belk is an effervescent force known as the Gotta Tell Somebody gal. She's also a writer and motivational speaker who's always bragging on God. For more on Cecil Murphy, go to his website, Cecil Murphy, that's PHEY.com. And for Twyla, GottaTellSomebody.com. The show, Season Me, is a far-reaching, faith-based shared conversation and call-in show with questions welcome. A chance to get everything out in the open, from questions about writing to surviving sexual abuse to the topics of the day, all from a Christian worldview to help you. Season Me, Cecil Murphy, Twyla Belk, Tuesday evenings at 8, 7 Central on TogiNet.com. Welcome back to Motherhood Talk Radio, the most powerful voice in women's issues. For more information, check out the website, motherhoodtalkradio.com. Now, let's get back to the show with your hosts, Sandra Beck and Christy Holly.
Hey, mamas. My name is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Christy Holly and Rick Swanson, and we are attempting to unravel the mysteries of Valentine's Day and these man-women in relationships that cause us all sorts of grief. Now, Christy, at the break, you were talking about how you see Valentine's Day really as a lover's holiday.
Well, I do. I did. Yes, I do.
Okay.
I know. Whatever. No, I just think, like, a lot of times when you have, a new I don't want to say, like, more of a new relationship, it's kind of just like a lover's holiday, and you can have it with your kids, and it's so fun to do the Valentines. I think it's so fun to do the Valentines, and I loved doing it as a kid. I loved making the Valentines and putting those little hearts in there to really, like, you're sweet, or I love you,
heart.
To, your secret crush. You put the right candies in the right envelope. I loved all that. And I like that for the kids. My kids had a great time doing that. But there's that, and then there's also the adult part of it. And I guess we are conditioned for it because it is commercialized, but I love it. I'm suckered. I buy into all the See's candy. I love the packaging. I love it. I love the chocolate. I love everything about it, except the prices of cards and roses. But
yeah, they do. They do go through the roof. How about you, Rick?
Do I really have to answer that one?
Well, no, you don't. You don't.
No, I don't mind. No, I don't. I just don't really care for it. Like, I don't really see the difference. I mean, I'm not a huge candy person unless it's Mike and Ike's. But I don't know. I was forced to do that when I was younger, like to make little cards and stuff. And I'm just not. I don't know. Don't enjoy it that much.
I mean, maybe that's the difference between girls and boys.
I like being hands-on. I just don't like crafty stuff. Like, and then add to it that it's all pink and red and hearts and flowers and.
Valentine's have come a long way since we were little kids because they have, like, crazy bugs, they have superheroes, they have Star Wars that are all boy stuff.
Do they?
That don't have any girls on them. Yes. Bugs with tattoos.
Oh, that's true. They do have tattoos. They have really cool Valentine's Day tattoos.
They do. So it's come, like, a long way. It's not just like a little girl. I mean, I can see before.
Right.
Remembering back to the olden day Valentines where they came with envelopes that you...
Yeah, I know.
Instead of sticking them together with a sticker.
Yeah, they have gotten pretty cheap, I got to tell you.
Yeah.
For $2 to get a box of these things. I got the Pixie Sticks ones because I feel there was at least some ancillary value of, hopping the kids up on sugar and preservatives and colorants and dyes. That was good for my $4.
Yeah, well, we attached, the conversation hearts to them just because those are fun. But,
they are fun. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's it's hard to know what people's traditions are, but I've never really saw Valentine's Day as something that was just for lovers. I like to share, like, with all the people in my life that I care about them, and even if it's just a Valentine's Day text, and but let's I think we've beaten the dead horse of Valentine's Day. I want to talk about Alexandra Fox has this amazing site called unforgettablewoman.net. I would encourage everybody to check it out because it's really got some fun and insightful information. She has a great email campaign that when you sign up for her email newsletters, you get some really fun and interesting information. And I found that, for what limited knowledge I have between man and woman relationships, that she's kind of right on the money. And I haven't been able to figure out who Alexandra Fox is and find her as an entity. So I don't know if she's a collective of psychologists or strippers. I have no idea. But either way, her stuff is really good. And she comes up with some of these points that I'd like to talk about today. Number one, and Christy, I'm going to ask your opinion on this, so pay attention. Stop texting on your phone.
I know, I'm sorry.
And Rick, I'm going to come to you.
Okay.
One of her key points that she makes is that the more interested women are in men, the less interested he is. So, Christy, I'm going to go to you first.
Okay.
And you feel in your vast dating experience that the more we show a guy we like him, the less interested he seems in us. Do you find that to be true?
Yes, I have yes and no. It goes both ways. I mean, because all guys are different, and I've come across some different fellows in my past. But no, I want to say, like, when you really, really like them in the beginning, like, you're, like, trying all these things, like, yeah, you're like, what just happened? Like, we had a great time, everything was going well, we had great conversation, and why isn't he calling me back? So, yeah.
So now Alexandra Fox says she is adamant that it's the man's job to make the advances, not yours.
That's frustrating.
Okay, so we're going to throw it over to Rick now, and we're going to ask you from the man's perspective, Rick, which would you rather have? Would you rather be pursued, or would you rather be the pursuer in a relationship?
Being that most of the time, any of my experience has been me being pursued to the point of, like, it being creepy, I'd rather do some pursuing. Being a man, and also guys who like to, like, hunt and stalk things, I find the thrill is really in the chase. It's not so much when you get there and you're like, oh, okay, but it's the hunting it down, the having to work to get your target or to get someone trying to go out with. That's more the fun. But a lot of girls nowadays seem to be the opposite. They're very, very forward and very, very aggressive.
Well, and that's, according to Alexandra Fox, she says males are hardwired and programmed to be the pursuers, and that they feel best when they invest their time, effort, and resources in you, especially at the early stages. So she suggests that if a woman keeps pursuing him, that you're getting in the way of his nature, and you'll be getting in his way too. So her suggestion is, instead of trying very hard to make a guy like you, that you should just be available and let him take the lead. Do you agree?
I do, but most girls tend to get pissed off at a certain point. They're like, well, you're moving too slow, or you're not showing it enough, or what's your problem? You're not attracted to me, blah, 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 blah. That's usually what I've heard. And someone's just like, no, I don't want to move at the same track or rate that you're working on. It's not that I don't like you, per se, or I'm not attracted, but the more you seem to push, the more I feel inclined to, like, run the other way. I don't know why, but...
Well, Alexander Fox seems to think it's part of human nature. Now, Christy,
probably.
I can see even in my kids, like in kindergarten, the little girl who will remain nameless, who was marching Max around the playground at kindergarten, and there was a battle with 3 little girls for my son of who was going to walk with them and who was going to eat lunch with them. And he came home like a hunted dog. And he was like, yep. Mom, I don't know what to do. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But I tend to agree that I think if the woman does the pursuing, it does upset a little bit of the balance of nature. And I'm probably going to take a lot of heat for that. Christy, what do you think?
It's hard to wait. I mean, nobody, like, as a female woman,
you're one of those who's like, he's not moving quick enough. What the heck is wrong?
Well, you want to be pursued, but
right.
When they're not pursuing you, like, in a timely fashion, like, you want to go
timeline?
right.
I think women are operating on different guidelines.
How long are you supposed to wait for this person to contact you, to call you? How long do you give them before you move on, or before you... I mean, there's all this new technology. Well, it's not new, but all this technology that you can, like, text and computers and all these social websites that you can talk to other people. Like, how do you wait for a person to decide that they're interested in you?
Rick?
I don't know. I'm not the female.
No, I'm talking about you. It's like Christy's asked the question, like, how long? I can't answer it. I'm not dating her. Her question was,
I don't know. There's not. You can't give a specific time frame. For me, it's an individual case by case scenario.
Nice. So thank you, Senator Swanson.
It is. No, women to me are scenarios. Maybe that's the problem. It's a calculated risk. It's an investment. Both time, money, and emotionally. But to me, usually emotional one's the last one to go. I don't know.
Well, see, in my theory, okay, and this is, I'm going to get, like, blown out of the water for this one, too. Mm-hmm. My theory is that like a lot of keys have to fall into place for a relationship to work. So
Right.
timing is one of those keys for a relationship, and if somebody's too fast and the other one's too slow, or one of them wants an immediate response and the other one doesn't, you're not in sync. And so I think a critical mistake women make with men is that they expect men to respond too fast to their demands. They expect men to follow on their time frame. And when I look at my brothers and I look at my sons growing up, they're their own animal. They're their own thing. And so if a woman is not patient, then she's going to blow it early on by pushing too fast and too hard. But if she waits and they don't call, you have your answer anyway. I mean, do you really want to be in a relationship with someone that you had to pursue, get into a chokehold, to have a Valentine, for that year?
Yeah, I totally agree. If a guy, after a certain amount of time, if he's really interested, he will be making the effort to call you, to text you, to try to set up times to hang out with you. If you're not getting any of the above, bottom line, he's not interested. Move on.
What's a certain amount of time?
So, I would say, if you've hung out and he hasn't called you in 2 or 3 days or any kind of contact whatsoever, it's a no-go. Sometimes when you're in a relationship and there's a time you guys decide, we should pull apart and take some time away. But as far as he doesn't say anything, I've done that. I'll be honest. I'll just stop any connection with that person whatsoever. It's not the best thing, but it's that's what guys are saying. We're done.
I think so, but I think some women do that too. I call it going into the turtle. It's if somebody's annoyed me to the point where I don't want to talk to them anymore, I will not communicate for a while. And sometimes it's just to slow things down. But also, it's I think there has to be a respect for the rights of the individual in a relationship, because there are sometimes, especially on a Saturday, if I have talked all week long in my coaching business and done the radio shows, done the things I need to do, the last thing I want to do is have a conversation on a Saturday afternoon about, I don't even care what it is. I just need that space. And I think with space issues, if people don't respect the individual rights and boundaries that people have with space, I think that can cause a lot of trouble in a new relationship or an existing relationship.
Yeah, I think so. And everybody's perception of space and time is a little bit different, and that's what is going to make you, you need to find out about that person, okay, this irritates them, they don't like this. That's how you build that relationship, because every person is going to be different. There's
Absolutely.
no template, okay, if I wait such and such amount of time and then I call him or talk to him, then it's cool because it worked in the past. No, not necessarily so.
Okay, we're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to talk about why men lose interest after sex, the truth about emotional bonding.
Mom, here's your show, Motherhood Talk Radio, giving you interesting, inspiring, and influential information as you navigate everything from childcare to corporate formation. This is Motherhood Talk Radio, and we'll be right back after these. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for you to be a rock star. Get ready to rock with Rock Talk and Craig Deswald, and learn how to achieve rock star status in your industry. Every Tuesday afternoon at 2, 1 Central on TogiNet.com. Craig Deswald is the creator of the Rockstar System for Success. Craig will share easy tips and strategies on how entrepreneurs and businesses can use outside-the-box marketing strategies to stand out from their competition. Each high-energy show will feature interviews with celebrity rock stars as well as business rock stars. For more on Craig, the show, and the Rockstar Marketing Boot Camps, check out the website, CraigDeswalt, DUSWALT.com, so you can learn how to be perceived as an expert and celebrity in your field, so more people come to you to buy your services and products. Then, get ready to be a rock star with Rock Talk and Craig Deswald. Tuesday afternoons at 2, 1 Central on TogiNet.com. Everyday Autism Miracles with Shannon Penrod. Friday afternoons at 2, 1 Central on TogiNet.com. Life after an autism spectrum diagnosis doesn't have to be difficult. It can be joyful, happy, and filled with hope. Join Shannon Penrod, author, speaker, coach, and mom of a 6-year-old recovering from autism for this inspirational hour of hope. She's even authored a series of children's autism books with her son, Jim. For more information about the books, Shannon, and Everyday Autism Miracles, go to her website, shannonpenrod.com. From there, you can also get to her other websites, blogs, and connections. On Everyday Autism Miracles, you'll hear stories from parents whose children have made miraculous strides. You'll also get the inside dish on therapies, treatments, supplements, and how to get funding to help you afford them. Miracles abound in the autism community, so tune in for Everyday Autism Miracles to listen, share, laugh, and surround yourself with hope. Everyday Autism Miracles with Shannon Penrod. Friday afternoons at 2, 1 Central on TogiNet.com. Welcome back to Motherhood Talk Radio, the most powerful voice in women's issues. For more information, check out the website, motherhoodtalkradio.com. Now, let's get back to the show with your hosts, Sandra Beck and Christy Holly.
Hey, mamas, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Rick Swanson, and Christy Holly has stepped out of the booth for a minute. She needs to handle a personal call. So, Rick, it's just you and me, and we've been talking about in this post-Valentine's Day show some of the intricacies between men and women and how I really believe that we're kind of differently hardwired.
Absolutely. I mean, I think there's a scientific and even a biological, proof that we are different. I mean, I think sometimes society today tries to make it seem like there is no inherent difference between men and women, but there is.
There is a huge difference.
There is a huge difference. The way we look at problems, the way we solve problems, the way we react physically and emotionally to things is different. You know, we're processing things completely different.
Absolutely. I mean, I can see it in just like you and I working together on different projects. It's like my face gets all red, my voice gets really high, I get, more emotional, and you actually do the opposite. You get like very quiet, you get very methodical, you go into your problem-solving mode, which, I don't know which one is better. I think they're just different.
I don't think it is a matter of better. I think it's just being aware that there is a difference.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. And one of the biggest things, that I see from reading this book, and it's unforgettablewoman.net, and I would encourage our listeners today to check it out. It's really a lot of helpful information. But there's some different key things she talks about for why men lose interest, not just lose interest after sex, but lose interest in a woman, from the get-go. And, you have mentioned that you had many girls trying to force you to fall for them. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah. It runs the gamut from everything like questioning your manhood as to why you're not getting really into them. I've even had one girl basically say, you must be gay or something because you don't love me. I'm like, that's neither here nor there. It means, no, I don't really like you. That may seem kind of harsh from the girl's perspective for a guy to say that, but that's the truth, There's only really one person that's meant for you, I think, in the long term. So everybody else, is going to fall by the wayside, but, yeah.
Well, and what about, talking about things, especially, women when they get into their mid-20s, there's a lot of pressure to be married, or even in their early 20s.
Yeah.
What about talking about that on a date?
Not good. I know I've read some statistics, and there's some studies out there saying, once a woman hits at the age of 30, and after that, it, exponentially, it goes down, her chances of getting married. So I don't know if that's that biological clock ticking that women start to, freak out, but I think that's definitely not a good thing to drop on the first date. Don't drop the M word, as I call it, which is marriage. I had a couple of friends that they'd meet a guy, and the first things out of their mouth was oh yeah, I want to get married ASAP, and babies, babies, babies. Those are two concepts that, although men I think will get around to it and long term want to do that, but when you say that right away, that's just going to make them flee for the hills. They're going to bail out of there as quick as they can.
I would. I mean, because I get that same thing. I haven't obviously been on a date in a while, but, I get that same pressure of, people are like, okay, well, you have 2 kids already, you're are you going to have more kids? Do you want to have more kids? Do you want to, get married? And I just sit there going, I don't even know what I want to have for an appetizer, and you're asking me, do I want to have a family with you?
Right, absolutely.
It's too much pressure.
I know, and I think, it's okay to not be completely airy-fairy and naive and just go, like you're living in the Enchanted movie, when it's all like a big fairy tale. But at the same time,
I love that movie.
I do love that movie, which is shocking, I'm sure. But you don't need to be so pragmatic. You're like, okay, if I marry you for this is smart business transaction. It's not a business transaction, You need to have that emotional connection, and you need to have a physical attraction for it to ever have any chance of success, in the beginning.
Well, that's a really interesting thing that you talk about, because it's a perfect segue into one of the points that Alexandra Fox makes. And she's talking specifically about, why do men lose interest after sex? And she calls love, or as she puts it, emotional bonding. And she says that it's not uncommon for sex to happen during the first few dates. And sometimes a man and woman will feel such great chemistry that they can't help it. And a lot of women think, and Christy, Christy, you can give me your opinion on this, because we're glad to have you back. But many women, according to Alexandra Fox, and I tend to agree with this, think that sex seals the deal in a relationship. And she begs to differ. She says that a strong relationship consists of two bonds, a physical one and an emotional one. So you have that physical bond, which is the kissing, fooling around. You have to be attracted to each other. But she says that women, by and large, end up getting intimate before they've established the emotional bond. And the emotional bond is that love. And she says it takes at least 2 months of regular dating to even begin to lay a foundation for a relationship. And the physical part, such as sex, can happen later, and almost like the later it happens in a relationship, that the sex can happen without risking the relationship.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've done things backwards in my time, and it's like they haven't worked out. Like the relationships haven't worked out, and it's been like, okay, well, we have the sex in common, but we don't have the emotional connection, and it doesn't really go anywhere from there. It's hard to get the sexual connection and then get to an emotional connection.
I agree. Rick, what was that movie we went to see that talked about this? Like the two people were hooking up.
Oh, no strings attached.
Yummy.
Yeah, no strings
Yummy.
attached. You want to tell us what the movie was about, Rick?
Well, from what I gather from watching it, the whole premise of the movie is not to be like best friends, but to be sex friends. So basically, try to have no emotional connection, but strictly use each other for your sexual gratification purpose. That's really it. And in the movie, it kind of shows Ashton Kutcher kind of starts losing that, and he starts wanting to have, the girlfriends. Sure, the sex is great, but other than that, he can't really talk to her. He can't take her out. He can't, hang out with her. She's even there's one thing that he's trying to snuggle and cuddle with her, which is weird that the guy's initiating that. And then she's just like, no, I got to leave. You need to go. Bye. It was entertaining.
It was funny, but I don't think, and maybe it's just because the way I'm hardwired, Christy, and maybe it's a girl thing. I don't know, I don't think I could do that and not have an emotional connection with that person. At least form something, especially if it's once, that's one thing, but repeated engagement of that certain activity with the same person over a period of time. How can feelings not get involved?
Well, I've tried that. I've had the friend, and I will tell you that I couldn't do it without having some emotional strings. He didn't know I had them, but, I was starting to want other things from him, but we were just friends that...
With benefits.
Yes. So, I did have the emotional thing going on, and I hit it, but...
But it couldn't be satisfying.
No, not really. I was all happy, more happy than I should have been, when he'd come over and stuff. But, that didn't leave me anywhere.
Yeah.
So
what about you, Rick? Do you think men can do that? I mean, is it a woman thing that, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I can't speak for all women, and I know you can't speak for all men, but can men just do that in perpetuity and not have feelings?
I don't really know. I mean, I think men are maybe more reluctant or slower to form a connection, but I think if it keeps going on, I think the natural tendency is you're going to start forming some deeper connection to that person. Just, I don't know, the more time you spend with them, I mean, you're going to start knowing, like, what she likes or doesn't like, or things that piss her off, etc. And I think there will be some connection, and then when you cut it off, then yeah, you're going to feel something. I would think. I'm not really.
I would think so.
I'm not an expert like our Miss Holly here. But, I defer to her in this, but yeah, I would see there would be something.
Sorry,
and
I'm coughing to the phone. Yeah, I know. It's like, let's talk about sex. That's so attractive. Well, but, she does say that we should take the time to fall in love with each other first and not let sex get in the way of a beautiful relationship with great potential. And I think that kind of harks back to that timing issue, is that, both people in the relationship have to be either through discussions or in sync with each other on how fast that moves. Because it's like, I've been on dates where guys expect you to put out that night. I've been on dates that it's like they talk about, like, oh, yeah, on the third date or the fourth date.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, first of all, no.
Maybe the seventh date.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't know, because it's
lucky number 7, huh?
No, I never got to 7. I never got to 2 on
magical
most of them.
number.
Are you kidding? It was like the one date wonder last year.
But don't you think people are confusing love with lust? I mean, I think love is a completely different thing. I mean, sure, lust could be part of it, but lust is completely different in my book.
Well, you don't have to be in love to have sex.
Hell no.
That's true.
Can we say hell?
What?
We can say hell,
going to hell,
right?
going to hell. Dead air.
No.
I always forget what we can say.
That's a whole different... I mean, if you're looking for a relationship, so here's the other side of it, maybe. You're not looking for a relationship. Can't you just have sex with somebody?
As long as both people realize it's not anything other than what it is. I think that's
right. It has to be out in the open. Okay, this is the deal. Be forthcoming about it.
Yeah, right. Because if you're on the same page, you're both taking the same risks, and you accept. It's like contract deal. I mean, to me, that's like a contract versus
sign here.
You don't have an STD.
Good idea. I should just make it a PDF.
You will get sued for child support. All right. Well, when we come back from break, my name is Sandra Beck. I'm the host of Motherhood Talk Radio, along with Christy Holly. Our guest today is the quintessential male mind, Rick Swanson, who's always delightful in giving us the male point of view. We're going to talk about why he won't commit to you in a casual relationship or an emotional relationship, and why men rarely share their true feelings. So check Alexandra Fox's stuff out on unforgettablewoman.net. We have not received any paid endorsement for this. We just think her stuff is great.
Mom, here's your show, Motherhood Talk Radio, giving you interesting, inspiring, and influential information as you navigate everything from childcare to corporate formation. This is Motherhood Talk Radio, and we'll be right back after these. Innovation and insight, problems and solutions, capitalizing on your ideas and efforts. That's all a part of Changing the World One Invention at a Time with Rick Rowe. Thursday evenings at 6, 5 Central on TogiNet.com. Rick will be sharing stories of innovation, invention, inspiration, and overcoming obstacles with guests who have been there, done that, and are doing that. Rick will be asking the right questions, helping you identify the real problems, and showing you how to act on your ideas by increasing consumer confidence and, more importantly, increasing your confidence to act on your ideas. For even more information, go to ThinkTech, that's TEK, globally.com. Then join us as Rick and his guests teach us how to develop new ideas and create new products, new businesses, new jobs. And together, let's get our economy growing again. It's Changing the World One Invention at a Time with author and inventor Rick Rowe. Thursday evenings at 6, 5 Central on TogiNet.com. Okay, we will. We're going to teach you how to tell your money where to go. It's Intelligent Investing with Pam Otten on TogiNet. Learn how to be a savvy investor from someone who has your best interest at heart. Pam Otten is a financial advisor who loves to help successful business owners and entrepreneurs understand the mysteries of the investment world. And she's not afraid to share that knowledge. Pam is an unashamed Christian and qualified kingdom advisor, which means she's trained and committed to integrating biblical principles into her financial advice. Pam believes investing isn't rocket science. This is the financial advisor who's in your corner and truly understands and cares about you and helping you achieve your goals. Securities and advisory services are offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. It's Intelligent Investing with Pam Otten on TogiNet. Welcome back to Motherhood Talk Radio, the most powerful voice in women's issues. For more information, check out the website, motherhoodtalkradio.com. Now, let's get back to the show with your hosts, Sandra Beck and Christy Holly.
Hey, mamas. This is Sandra Beck, and this is our post-Valentine's Day show on Motherhood Talk Radio. I'm here with my co-host, Christy Holly.
Hello.
Hello. And we also have Rick Swanson, who is, I think he should be given a co-host marking sooner or later because we do pull him on quite a bit.
Sure.
Yeah, and he's kind of been our guest today in probing the male mind.
Good job.
We were just probing, like, the mind, not anything else.
We're not. I didn't even go there.
Whoa.
I kept it clean. Kept it clean.
So the next thing that Alexandra Fox talks about in her book, which is available at unforgettablewoman.net, I think it's $39. You can get all these cool free downloads, but her information is really good, is Why Won't He Commit? And I think when I hear about my girlfriends who are in the dating arena, they always talk about, like this book that I read, like He's Just Not That Into You, which is very, very funny. Another good book anybody dating should read, because I feel like it answers these questions. Like my theory was always like, if you don't call me back, if you don't ask me for a second date, if you don't call to see me, there's my answer. Like I don't need any more answers. That, silence is an answer to me. It's like, in like military, retreating in another direction is just another, it's not retreating, it's just advancing in a different direction. So I hear my women friends, and Christy, you probably agree, and maybe Rick, I don't know if you've heard this too.
Okay.
If a guy doesn't like a girl, he might say something like, I don't want a serious commitment right now, or I don't want to commit. The girl will naturally think he has commitment issues and not go, well, maybe he just doesn't like me that much.
Yeah, there's always the excuses, because who wants to know that? Who wants to be hurt with? He doesn't care about me, or he doesn't like me. I mean,
yeah.
See, and I think, Rick, go ahead before I tell you what I think.
Okay, no, I actually have heard that from girls in the past, and I've heard things from my brothers. Like, they usually go complain to my siblings about, what's wrong with Rick, or is he too slow, he doesn't get it, or, he just has major commitment issues and problems. And most of the time they've told the female in question, saying, he's not as dumb as he looks. Basically, if he's telling you that, he's really not interested. But then they're like, they don't like, I don't know, maybe they don't want to wrap their mind around it, or just that it's hurtful, I don't know.
Well, I just wish that maybe someone would just say, I'm not interested. How about that?
Yeah.
I think that's really hard to say to somebody.
And people don't take it as nice as you would think.
Well, it's like, thank you.
I mean, long term, it might be the best thing to do, even though initially, I guess, it might be more hurtful, but probably long term does less damage.
Well, it's
You're
like a mercy
right.
kill.
Mercy kill.
Which one is worse? Like dragging this person, like if you act like you like them, and you flirt with them and lead them on and say, I will call you, I'll call you. Get your number, you go through the trouble of getting their number, and then that's setting this whole thing up for like, okay, the whole waiting game.
But don't you think it's possible to initially, like, at least think you're interested, or you are interested, and then it changes, and like, oh, okay, no, it's not really meant to work out. And then you have to say
when would it change? Like before you called her? Like by the you usually get the number at the end of the thing. So what?
I don't know. I think even after a couple dates, like I think after that, you should know whether or not you're interested or not.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
And And you should be able to tell.
But I think, too, it's like, you can do things. Like, for me, I'm the consummate date killer. Because if I'm on a date with
$20.
Yes, my $20. I'm apt to, in the middle of a date, go, I'm not really into this person, but I don't feel like they should be financially responsible for paying for my half of the meal. So I'll say, you know what, thank you, it's been really good. I just don't think there's any point for us. I do throw the 20 down, and I do get up and leave. Okay, I haven't done that in a while.
That's direct.
But the other thing I'll do, and this I'm going to share with the girls out here, is I am the consummate date killer. And I have done this. It's like if you're on a date with someone and you can tell they're really into you and you don't want to hurt their feelings, you just have to deliver that critical piece of information. And I have done this. I've been at dinner with a vegetarian, and he talks all about being a vegetarian, and I'm like, oh, my God, this is the rest of my life. And then I order a hamburger, or I tell him, like, God, I love red meat. I can't live without red meat. I know that's a deal breaker.
Yeah.
So if you listen, you're laughing, but if you listen for the deal breaker on the date,
yeah,
you know, if the guy is gigantic, it's one of those, like, eHarmony fix-ups where he puts that he's, pudgy and he's really, like, Titanic weight. And you just say, physical fitness is really important to me. I like to work out, keep my weight down. I don't eat sweets, and I kind of do. But if you put the date killer in there, it will kill the date. And then both of you can mutually agree, this probably isn't going to work out between the two of us. And you can leave with both people feeling intact. Because I don't think it's a matter of me not liking you. Mm-hmm. It's a matter of, like, and this is going to get all airy-fairy because it goes with my Valentine's Day, but I really believe that people are like pieces of a puzzle, like an intricate puzzle. And for you to fit, you have to push that puzzle piece into the, not jam it, not pound on it, but you have to put that piece in place. And it needs to fit with them spiritually. It needs to fit with them religiously, emotionally, socially. If you're not in the same social sphere and his family hates you or you hate his family, that's going to cause additional stress. If you're different religions, there's all sorts of things that talk about we've got to be, like, I think it's equally yoked or something like that. I always thought it meant like a cow to a pig, but, well. But if we don't fit into those, like, 4 or 5 primary parts of us that are important, we're just not going to fit. Over the long term, it's going to bust it apart. If you don't have the same moral views, if you don't have the same religious views, if you don't have, not exactly the same, but you have to be somewhat on the same page, like that puzzle piece has to fit in there. And I think when it does, it's easy.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's easy. And we want easy relations because I want an easy relationship. I didn't want to have to work at my new relationship. And when I did finally, I worked at a lot of relationships trying to fit the puzzle piece in that, I tried to fit the square into the hole, and it doesn't work.
It doesn't.
I waited and waited, and the right person came along at the right time, and we just fit.
It just fit. And it was easy.
It was easy. It was really easy. So,
Rick, what about you? What do you think?
No, I agree, but I think from what I observe in some other people and some people in my family, and I won't name anybody, but watching certain people, like, trying, like you said, force that piece to fit when it just doesn't, because of either they've been waiting so long and, they want it to work out. They're like, oh, yes, this is the one. And they're so fixated on, I want to have this relationship, I want to get married, or whatever it may be, that they're, like, trying to do anything and everything to make it work when it's just not meant to be. And it causes, frustration and heartbreak and all those things. But I see it happen a lot.
Like, there's a thing of, like, that I heard one time, and it might have been on a greeting card, so, pardon me if it sounds stupid, but there's a difference between being in love and then, like, wanting to be in love or being in love with love. Like, wanting to have a relationship and not really focusing so much on, is this the right relationship? But it is a relationship, and it does mean marriage. It does mean kids. It may not mean the right thing for me, but I don't care because I'm just all into, having that relationship. Or, in what I see in this town here a lot, is just to get married. The end result is to get married, and it doesn't really matter if the puzzle pieces fit together.
Well, because don't you think there's a lot of pressure from society, and especially I think more in smaller towns, that you start becoming almost socially ostracized, like, oh, what's wrong with you, or why aren't you married, or as if not being married is a problem, you know?
Oh, I think definitely. In my small town, if you were not married, I was like an old maid at like 26. In my town, small town in upstate New York, you know, totally cow town, very religious, very quiet, simple lifestyle. Everybody got married and had babies. I mean, by the time I was getting married, some of the people I knew growing up had 10-year-olds.
Isn't that crazy?
Well, but I think it's part of it. And we're socialized as women to, you know, some of us are socialized to go on and run companies and go to college and do these things. Other ones are socialized to have families, or it's their choice and they want to get married. And I'm not saying any one is better than the other, but for crying out loud, when you're in a small town and you're not married by the age of 25, you're like a dinosaur.
Oh, yeah, I've had friends that were like, you know, 21, 22, like freaking out that they're not married. They're like, oh, I'm never going to meet the right guy. And I'm like, look, you're 22. You're really a baby. I mean, to be honest, you really don't have any life experience. You're not ready for that kind of commitment. So you need to chill out a little bit, you know, and work on just maybe having a boyfriend or learning how to deal with guys or people instead of just, jump on that marriage bandwagon just because everyone else is doing it. That's a bad idea, in my book.
I think so, and I think, you know, the people that we are at 20 are different than the people we are at 30 and 40, and I think the opportunities that are afforded to women today and to men, you know, to travel the world, to meet people from different countries, to meet people of different religions, to meet people who do things differently, whether it's over the internet or physical travel. I mean, we have such a wonderful opportunity for exploration, you know, and I don't discount some people who fall in love at 19 and are married for 50 years, because that does happen. It's got to be individual. But there's just this big, beautiful world to enjoy. And I just think that, and maybe, you know, because I'm like the marriage killer, but it's just, there's so much to do before you get married. What do you think, Christy?
Yeah, I agree with you. But I think, like, people are waiting later in their life to get married and to really commit. And I think that I mean, nowadays you're finding more people that are not married, you know, at a later age. And I think that it's a good thing because, like you said, we change. We're different from who we are at 20 and at 30. And I think people are waiting a little bit longer. I mean, I did.
Sure. I mean, you have an education. You're getting your education. You might get a master's degree. You have to pay off your student loans. I mean, those things prohibit, you know, getting married at 21. It makes it really difficult.
Yeah. Right, and then things like you would do when you're younger, say like at 24, the risks that you might take or the things that you might undertake to do, you wouldn't do if you're married and you have kids. It's just too risky. But those are the things that you can try when you're not married. You know, not get it out of your system, but, you know, do the things that you think you want to do or you want to do. And then when you figure all that out a little, you know, calm down a little bit, then maybe segue into another way of thinking.
Well, you guys, I want to thank you for being on the show with me today. Christy, Holly, you were outstanding in your sharing of your vast dating experience.
Good job, Christy.
TMI, I'm sorry. Rick, I want to thank you for giving the male perspective and speaking from the heart and letting the women listeners today know a little bit more about the male perspective. My name is Sandra Beck. I am the host of Motherhood Talk Radio along with Christy Holly and Rick Swanson. We will be back next week with another exciting information-packed show, and happy post-Valentine's Day. Hearts and flowers.
Thank you for being a part of Motherhood Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Christy Holly on TogiNet.com. Join us every Tuesday as we give voice